Always at the forefront of our minds these days is the health of our environment. Chief Clinton Phillips gives us an update on the pipeline situation and a report recently acquired by the Environment Protection Office on the impact of Montreal's sewage dump from a few months back. Joining us is Lands Portfolio Chief Clinton Phillips, and of course Lands also includes environment, which seems to be something that takes up a lot of your time. First of all, welcome along to the program.
Thank you, Joe.
Yeah, we haven't had you on for a while. There's lots to catch up on, and I know you don't have any major announcements at this point, but we thought it would be a good idea to kind of catch up on things. First of all, pipeline stuff is in the news and has been for a while. And then you have also the city of Montreal with that sewage dump that happened, and also a project, a happier project. Let's start with the tougher news. Let's go to the pipelines. Just briefly, what can you tell us at this time in terms of the Trans-Canada pipeline? I know there are consultations coming.
Well, I guess at this point, what we can do is share with the community that, actually tomorrow is we're having a strategic discussion with Chief and Council and the technical people coming in regards to pipelines in general, not specific to any one, but in general. And I think we need to really get together and come to a common resolve in terms of positions and stances. Because I know some people are questioning, like, where does MCK stand? Because some people hear one thing, some people hear another thing. So I think it's important for the people to know where we are with this. There's positions being taken from across the country, for it, against it, and I think it's something that society in general needs to come to terms with. There's still that big question in regards to what is safer, whether pipeline is safer than transporting via tankers, transporting via rail. We've seen what happened in Lac Megantic in regards to rail shipment. So there's a lot of questions that society needs to have answers to, and I don't think pipelines and or government is answering those questions that people have. It's serious concerns, and you can't blame people for being concerned.
Interestingly, at the Iroquois Caucus, you saw the three Mohawk communities closest to us. Ganasadaga said, "Over my dead body," whereas Akwesasne says, "Well, we already have an agreement, and we're fairly happy with that." And of course, Kahnawake has always taken the tack that we have to ensure if these things, because Enbridge 9B already exists, so what our position has been is to be making sure that we hold them to absolute safety standards, et cetera, et cetera. So has any of that changed?
Not in my mind. Not in my mind. It's all about accountability. And if you're going to put forth something, you got to make sure that there's safeguards in place in case there's an accident that occurs. And let's face it, an accident is an unplanned event. It's not an on purpose, so it could happen at any time, anywhere.
So speaking of events that were planned, let's go over to the Montreal sewage dump that happened several weeks ago, I guess, at this point. Obviously, Kahnawake took a strong role. You were actually at several of the meetings. Kahnawake was the only community, actually, that had a seat at the table, I guess, mainly because we demanded it. Mm-hmm. So the report now comes out, and it just came out. So is there anything yet that you can tell us?
Well, the report is a report. It's very technical in nature. It's the average person it's not reader friendly. So our people went through it, and we're not happy with it. We've sent back, I guess, a rebuttal, if you will, informing the government that we're not satisfied and we would like different wording. For instance, part of the report says the next time a discharge has to occur. We're saying no, a discharge should never occur. So it's things of that nature. I sent off an objection, and I received a letter in return already.
That's from Environment Canada?
From Environment Canada. I met up with, since this whole issue has happened, I met up with a lot of people from Environment Canada, a lot of people high on the totem pole, if you want to use that phrase, who have the minister's ear, Minister McKenna, who's the federal environment minister. So actually, I do have a promise from her that she's going to come to Kahnawake and we're going to meet. And hopefully that'll happen real soon. It's very important for her to see our community, to see what things plague us in terms of landfill sites, recreational bay, the issues that we see there, the whole issue of the St. Lawrence Seaway and the imposition that has put on our people, cutting us off from our river, and why, and that's key here, I want to give her, make her feel the reason why this river is so important to us. It's as important as the blood that flows through our veins.
The river is life.
The river is life.
You mentioned Recreation Bay. I know that Chief and Council met earlier this week on Tuesday the 5th.
Mm-hmm.
And so now, a little presentation. I know we talked about this about a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
We did an interview right on the bay. It was,
Mm-hmm.
there was still snow on the ground. But so where are we at in terms of that project?
Well, right now we were able to secure funding for the feasibility study, and that's currently just about completed. It's a huge undertaking. The study is in itself is very, very expensive. I think it's like to the tune of $150,000. The actual cleanup of what has to happen is in the $1 million ranges. Larger than $1 million. At this point, we can't pinpoint exactly how much it'll cost, but we'll say it's over $1 million. Some of the ideas is like the ideas that have come forth is to actually good old-fashioned ways like what was done before. People or machinery would be used to remove a lot of the vegetation that's growing, relocate it, and that would actually break down into compost over X amount of time. So that could be used in fields and gardens and things of that nature, and or actually help to try to use it on the island, which seems that very little is able to grow there.
And it's still mostly rock.
It's rock.
It's rock that came from the seaway, and because there were islands there before. For our younger viewers,
Yeah.
It wasn't just one island.
No.
Back in the day, it was 3 separate islands, and they were filled in when they dug the seaway.
Yeah.
So, and in a nutshell, I guess the whole project there is to improve flow, because over the years, I remember when I was young, and when you were young, because I think you're older than me.
I think so.
No, but I remember when it was different there. You could take your boat all the way, but the sediment has really settled in a lot of areas, and it's a whole different environment there now. So they're trying to get it back so where the water can actually flow through there. And
well, it does all bottleneck at the bridge, and with the locks closed as often as they are, there is no need for the water to move. So it's kind of just sitting there. Plus, you have I'm not quite clear on the depth of the sediment at the bottom. But we have to keep in mind that the Chateauguay River is a tributary to the river upstream from us, and the Chateauguay River, comes from right across Quebec and into New York State, and there's a lot of little creeks and little farm fields that touch that bleed into the Chateauguay River. It's full of organic matter that flows downstream, and it gets bottlenecked right here at our bridge to Cattery Island. And I think that's a huge problem.
So if this, I know with the presentation, is there a timeline here when we can say, like, we hope that we'll be able to do certain things at certain times, or right now is it still kind of vague?
It's not vague. I mean, we're hoping that we can get things underway this season. It's going to be something that's going to take a couple of summers to do. Obviously, you can't do too much in the winter. So our window is very, narrow in terms of summer months, and like I said, don't be surprised if you see people and things happening in the Bay Area as early as this summer.
And of course, if that happens, we will tell you, the community, when and how these things will roll out. All right, thank you so much for taking time. I know there's lots of little things to catch up on, but we thought it was important to talk to you today.
Yeah, and I just again a shout out to Kahnawak's environment people who are doing a fantastic job at making sure our waterways, our lands, and everything that they can do is being done in terms of our environment and having a healthy community for our people.
Right. Chief Clinton Phillips, the Lands and Environment Portfolio Chief.